Coach Hall, would you mind giving us an opening statement around spring practice?
Yeah, a good spring for us. Like I'm sure everybody's going to tell you today. We thought we made a lot of progress. It's going into year 3 for us. So our roster is a little more complete, more sound. We've got more depth, particularly on the lines of scrimmage, where we could get after it a little bit better, like we would like to do. We got a lot of guys returning. We've been a really young team here for some time, and we shouldn't be that young anymore. We've got a lot of older guys returning. They know the system. We've been able to keep our staff pretty much intact over a 3-year run. Really only lost one guy. So there's been a lot of continuity, a lot of carryover, and feel good about our future. I think we're on solid footing now where we can really put our best foot forward and start taking this thing, to another level. We're coming off a season where we're able to have a winning season and win a bowl game for the first time since 2016 here, which is a great step forward. And now we got to get back to competing, for conference championships.
Sorry about that, Coach.
All right. So, but no, we got to take the next step forward and start putting ourselves in position to compete for championships in a really good league, as we all know, with a lot of competition in it. So with that, I'll open it up.
Yeah, for our media, raise your hand and I'll call on you to ask your questions. We'll go ahead and go over to Noah to start it off.
Coach, I wanted to ask you a question about your wide receivers. Obviously, Jason Brownlee is moving on and pursuing the NFL dreams. You've got guys like Caston and Mims back who are more slot guys. How do you expect to utilize both of those guys on the field this fall?
Yeah, so we've moved Caston back to outside. He's a kid that played outside his first year here and had a lot of success. We moved him into the slot last year. He's a 205-pound kid, that brings a lot of value. He can play inside and outside. So they'll both be on the field at the same time. They had great springs. Noah, we feel like we're going to be able to get those guys the ball a lot more than we have in the past, because we think we're in a much better situation with our offensive line going into year 3. And we're excited about the progress we've made at quarterback. So Mims made great progress, had a great true freshman season. And we think Caston is a young man that could have a really great year for us, coming up.
Just as a, quick follow-up to that, obviously quarterback was a big position you guys were keeping your eye on this spring. Is there anyone that you feel like has separated themselves from that pack?
Yeah, I think, I'll say their names in alphabetical order. Edwards and Wiles, the 2 transfers. I think they had great springs, both of them. I feel really good about both of them. I think we can win games with both of them. We'll continue that competition on through the summer and into fall camp. But they're 2 kids that really get the position. They attack each day the right way. They understand the responsibility of the position. They're accurate and understand football. Wilkie took great strides as well. He had to play too early last year before he was ready, and had some great moments and had some bad moments. He's really cut down on his turnovers throughout spring, and we think he's got a bright future. And then we got some young guys coming in that are going to be good players too.
Let's go over to Joe.
Coach, how do you feel like the new kid from Memphis, Rodriguez Clark, is fitting in with the team so far?
Oh, man, Joe, he has been great. I've known Drake for a long time. Played at a great high school program in Starkville, for a great high school coach, and Chris Jones and his O-line coach there, William Stewart, and I were teammates together. So really knew Drake for a long time. I was there when we recruited him at Memphis, and he took to Southern Miss and our culture really quickly. He had a great spring. He's a young man that makes the first guy miss consistently, and he's really physical and pass pro, can catch. And so we think he brings a lot of value to that running back room that's got, Frank Gore returning, and also Kenyon Clay is a young guy coming on. We think we got much more depth and ability in that room.
And to follow up, you mentioned Frank Gore Jr. How is his role as a leader of this team continuing to evolve?
Yeah, it's just great. Man, anybody that knows Frank or talks to him, he's just infectious with his smile, the way he impacts others. The thing he's grown over 3 years is understanding the responsibility that comes with being Frank Gore, and to whom much is given, much is required. He's really embraced that. He works hard every day. He's always got a smile on his face. When things aren't going his way, he still finds a way to get good work done. So he's been really able for, he's one of the guys now going into year 3 that we can kind of give the keys to the car and walk away and let him run things. And I love the kid, man. He gets the most out of what God gave him, and I'm proud to coach him.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, one kind of looking back on a player from last year, but Noah mentioned him, wide receiver Jason Brownlee. He was part of 12 record Sunbelt players at the NFL Combine. What stood out about coaching him over these past few years, and what would it mean for the Southern Miss program for him to hear his name called in the NFL draft?
Yeah, it'd be great for us. We've had 125 draft picks in our history here, and it would get us back going with getting guys drafted. We think he's got a great chance to. Jason's a young man that played at a great high school program for Chris Chambliss at West Point High, man, and they coach them there tough. They can coach them there like we used to coach back in the 80s and 90s. And so he's just a hardcore, tough competitor that it's never too hard for him. He's got size and ability. He's got the ability to use his body to make contested catches. And he also has great lateral quickness. And he's willing to play in the kicking game. He played for us in a lot of kicking game units. So we're certainly wishing the best for him.
And let's go over to Luke for one final question here.
Coach, you mentioned, about Frank Gore. And, I think we're starting to see in a lot of teams across the country, players that the sons of players who had great careers, not only in college, but the NFL, how important is it to let those players kind of establish their own identity as a player and not let them live too much in the shadow of maybe what, their parents did at the football?
Yeah, that's probably a tough question, Luke, because I think you got to take it case by case and family by family basis. A lot of times it depends on how close the young man is to his father. Does he play the same position as his father? Does he admire his father? I'm a young man that did what my father did and admires my father. He was one of my heroes. Frank's kind of in the same boat as me from that standpoint. He loves his dad. Him and his dad are really close. His dad has been a great father to him. He's really tough on him. He's very demanding. When Frank is not doing what he's supposed to do, his dad comes down hard on him. So they've got a close relationship. It's one that's got a lot of respect. I know Frank Sr. is very proud of Frank Jr., but at the same time, he continues to push him. And I think Frank has blazed his own trail. There's ways that him and Frank Sr. are similar, but there's ways they're different as well. And I'm proud of Frank. I'm proud that he's come of age and is doing his own thing. And I think he's got a bright future.
All right. Thanks, Coach Hall. We appreciate the time today.
Thank you, guys.